What's up, everybody? Ty Bartellin with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we head down to our friends in Lousiville with home of the Leopards with Tom Siegfried, home of the boys basketball team. Joining me today, head coach of the boys basketball team, I should say, joining me today. Coach Siegfried, how are we doing, man?
Doing great, doing great. Glad to be on.
I know we've been talking as this program has been building the last few years, and I know it's dubbed the program for more than one reason, too. Talk to me about just what you're seeing early on in this, before even season starts, practice scrimmage season. What's standing out to you from this group of Leopards?
I think just with the expectations coming in this year, we just wanted to really hold our kids to that standard and really focusing more this year on our day to day, getting better at practice and making sure that we are, basically blazing forward as the season starts the day after Thanksgiving. And so many guys. On this year's team, been doing this for 3-4 years with me. So, they know the expectations. We just want to make sure we're holding each other accountable. And it's really been a player led practice, player led program to start this year off.
When we talk about some of those players that we're going to be seeing on the floor for significant minutes, who's going to have an impact this year, what are the players? Let's meet the team.
Yeah. So, we're going to be very senior laden. I've never, in all 18 years of being a head coach here, have ever had a team like this. Our top 8 players are all seniors, and that's going to be our rotation to start. We have 4-year letter winners and captains, Bo Siegfried, my son, and Braden Gross. Bo has committed to Ashland to play next year. Braden has committed to Walsh to play next year. And then after that, we have starters Ashton Marshall, 3-year letter winner as well. He's going to play at the next level, just trying to figure out where right now. Tate Aljancic, 3-year letter winner, and then Avery Andrachek came on very, very strong last year. At the end of the year, he gave some great minutes, and I think he's going to be the biggest surprise this year in the county. After that, we have Devin Bailey, who's new to the program this year, senior, come off the bench. Colton Loy, who's a 2-year letter winner, big physical kid inside, that's going to get some depth against some of these teams that we're playing this year. And then rounding it all out is Austin Wade, who is a real big football player for us in our program here at Lousiville. And he gives us some depth inside and out as well, and was a varsity letter winner last year for us as well.
When you talk about having 8 seniors and you not having that type of that many seniors before, that many senior laden players before, talk to me. What does that do for you as a team? What does it open things up? Does it just allow you to just see things run at a more crisper pace? What do you foresee it doing for you having this many seniors?
I cautiously say that it brings a level of maturity. There's some days that you don't know about that. They're still high school kids, but a level of maturity as far as how you conduct yourself, when to be here for certain events, what's expected of them when coach isn't around, how practice is to be conducted. All those things are, I don't worry about those with 8 seniors. And when you have 2 guys that were on a regional final, district runner up teams over the past 4 years and started, or the 6th man, they get it, and really their expectations right now on Dayton, and that's pretty much it.
When we talk about the program, we also got to talk about the schedule, and it's always a great schedule year in and year out. What are some challenges that pop up this year for you guys that you're excited to face?
Well, I've always believed in playing a difficult schedule. I believe competition is what makes these young men, um, you know, basically become men and ready for the real world, and learning how to face adversity. But this year is beyond anything that we've done in the past, and purposefully we did this. We have St. V's, St. Ed's, and St. Ignatius at home this year, which just getting them to come here it really makes me feel good as far as the program
Awesome.
that we've created. And then we have play-by-play events against Richmond Heights and Amani Christian, who back-to-back Pennsylvania state champs, I guess. We're playing at Cleveland State and also at the Civic Center against those 2 programs. We're going to go to Torrey Pines, California this year for 4 games and play in their national event. So 16 of the top teams in the country will be going there, and we'll be playing that from December 26th through January 2nd. We'll be out there. And then we have games at Hoban is another really big game for us this year. And just numerous other events. We're going to Flying to the Hoop. We got invited to that, playing defending state champ Kettering Alter down in Kettering. So, and we're also playing Westerville North, which many picked to win the Division II state championship at Capital University in Columbus. So it's It's different where we have 11 home games. We have 7 neutral site games this year, and then we have 4 away games. We only have 4 regular away games this year and a lot of neutral games.
You talk about that too, and the home schedule is beefed up, and it's
Mhm.
already exciting to get the community to come out and see. But the community already supports, regardless of what the product is on the
Mhm.
court and who you bring in the gym. But just talk to me about building this program. Was it harder, I guess, to build the program and to climb the mountain, or is it harder to stay at the top and try to keep that standard where it is?
It's always why I like doing these interviews. You give great questions because there's a lot of truth to that. It's definitely harder to keep it where it's at. Obviously at the time I was said, we want to get there, we want to get there, we want to get there. But when you're there, there's a very limited way of going up, and really that way of going up is getting to a Final Four and winning a state championship. But anybody that's been doing this for a period of time knows that that's easier talked about than done. So yeah, the climb is tough. Just getting everything in order as far as the youth program and the people that support you, your staff, and the right way of thinking, the culture. But then once you get to the top, keeping those expectations there and giving these kids something new every year to strive for is why we did the things that we did this year with California and flying to the hoop and some of those different events because they're biting at the bit to do these things. And anytime as a high school program that you have, possibly 4 overnighters in 4 different cities in high school, that tells you you're doing something right.
When we talk about the way that divisions have expanded now in basketball from 4 to 7, I gotta feel like for a school like Louisville's size, that's gonna benefit you guys to some degree. Obviously, there's always gonna be competition. You're gonna have to beat some big teams and some really good teams if you want to make that state Final Four trip, right? But I gotta feel like the field looks a little bit smoother now for a Leopards team to make a run, not having to go through all those Division One juggernauts now.
Yeah, I mean it's that's exactly right, and really the path early is what is different with spreading it out. So your early path won't be as intense as it was at the D1 level. Last year you're playing a team like Medina in the district semifinal who's loaded, and then you play Glen Oak. Then we would have had to play Brunswick and then Ignatius just to get to the Final Four. Which then you're going to run into some of those juggernauts down south. So yeah, I think the path gets a little bit easier, but you're still going to have to go through, in the regional or state levels, you're going to go through the Lutheran West, St. V's, Hoban, Garfield Heights, and I'm leaving some out, I'm sure as well, but those are some of the teams that are going to be at the end. But I think it just gives more teams an opportunity to get to the end and maybe play against teams that are more, your size. Because when you get to a game that you're playing Ignatius, Louisville's has a number a little over 300, and Ignatius is going to be 1,200. So it makes it a little bit more simplistic to get there. But at the end of the day, to win it, you're still going to have to beat some really good teams.
You're also going to need to play to your strengths, and I mean, you as any other coach knows that. What are the strengths of this team this year? What's the Leopards' identity this season, as you foresee?
I think it's going to be the same as normal. I think our identity is that we are a very selfless team. We find the open guy, and that goes for Bo or BG or whoever it might be. If there's an extra pass to be made, we want to make it. We trust every guy that's on the court, every single possession, that we want to get the best shot possible, no matter who it is. Obviously we have a duo with Bo and BG and pick and rolls and things of that sort that puts a lot of pressure on defenses, and they've been doing this for a long time. Probably why both of them were getting recruited by the same colleges at times to keep that going. But we have other guys that are just as capable. I mean, in Ashton Marshall, Tate Aljancic, and Avery Andrachik in the starting lineup, all of them can light it up on any given night. In our bench, I would rival against any bench out there. They'd probably be starters at most places, and just excited for that. We will be up tempo as we normally are. We want to push. We want to go. I think we've scored over 100 3 or 4 times the last couple of years, and then defensively, we're going to get after you. And if teams beat us, we want to know that they beat us. We don't want to be sitting on our heels, and I think that's what you can expect from the Leopards.
When we look at your short term and long term goals, say short term from now until game one, long term from now until tournament draw, get last game of the regular season. What are the short term and long term goals for this team?
Short term is just to make everything as crisp as possible and stay healthy. That's the key. And then our long term goals, we just want to keep improving, because basketball is one of those sports that you don't have to worry about getting into the playoffs. You just want to be playing your best basketball at the end of the year and make sure that you're hitting on every cylinder that you can at the end. And I think that's where we've been really good here the last 3 4 years, is we've been playing our best basketball at the end of the year. So we've really started to push for quality over quantity, even in practice time and days off. And I think as young coaches, sometimes we think the more the better, and that's not always the case. These kids go through so much with training and academics and all these different things that play into the total athlete, that we try to be really cognizant of their well-being and rest and staying hydrated and things like that. So we just want to stay healthy, get to the end of the year, and make sure that we're full bore when we get to that end of the year to make a good tournament run.
You have done a great job in connecting with the kids of Lousiville, even from a young age, because I know as well as you do, it takes feeder programs to keep that high school program at the standard it is. I mean, you could have a great class, and then all of a sudden, some teams, there's a drop off too, because they don't have the middle school level built up. You guys are always building, it feels like,
Yeah.
over there at Lousiville. How are you connecting with your young student athletes too? And what's your kind of secret to connect with a student athlete that makes them want to give you that 150% and give them their all that like you do so well with your kids?
Yeah, that's the number one thing I think that has led to our success. Is when I came in here, we were about 80 to 85 kids in a youth program 18 years ago with one or two travel teams. This year, we're over 200 youth
Jeez.
campers with 12 travel teams, three middle school teams, and we're talking about a Division III school here. We're not talking about a huge D1. I think the one time I looked at the numbers, it was like 28% of all boys at Louisville in the youth play basketball. So that's something I'm really proud of. And once again, it's the same concept. If we can have a team, we have a team. I don't care what your skill level is, because everybody develops at a different time. I can honestly say, I don't know if this makes me crazy or not, I can pretty much tell you all my K through 2 little dribblers' names if they came up to me in public. So I take great pride in that. I think those are the ages that you really have to have a big impact, and they grow up wanting to play for the program and Louisville basketball. And with that being said, I think a lot of our kids, these last, I think it's 13 straight years that we've had winning seasons, they've set the tone for these young guys. They've grown up. This entire generation has grown up watching us win and watching us do it the right way against great competition. So they feel like they have to keep it going. And there's a lot to be said about looking up to role models like that.
Why keep on doing it year in and year out? What keeps you coming back? What keeps the fire lit in you? And why do you keep coming back to the Louisville community? What's gotten your heart with the Leopards all these years?
Yeah, I think it's just the impact you have on young people, and trying to push them towards something that is going to be a passion for them later on in life, and teaching those life lessons, like so many coaches taught me, on respect, responsibility, giving back to your community, all those types of things. I just think there's still more to give, and when you don't have any more to give, that's the time to get out, because it's more than basketball. We had a saying the year that we went to the regional final, bigger than basketball, and it turned out to be that. We had a great basketball season, but we gave a lot back to the community that year. We've donated our time with Wishes Can Happen, Give Kids the World, Angel Tree, um, Akron Hope. We've done numerous service projects. We have a young man in our community that's fighting hard right now, and we're going to go over and dedicate a basketball court with him on Monday after Thanksgiving. So it's just the impact you have on the kids and community, and trying to do the best you can on leading them to a successful life after basketball and after high school.
I love to hear it, Coach. I love to see what you continue to do with that community over there in Louisville. I know you can't do it on your own, though. I know you need a great support of people around you, and I always like to give that opportunity. Shout out your coaching staff. Shout out some other big names in the program that helps it go.
Yeah, we've had a very continuous staff, and that is a great point. It's really a reason for success. So as varsity assistants, we have Nick Schillig and Owen Grimoy. Owen does a lot of our individual work with our young men, and then Nick Schillig does a lot of our prep work. They're both outstanding at what they do. We have a couple young assistants, and Corey Perez and Dave Wirtz, who coach the JV and freshman teams as well. They've all been with me for multiple years in a row. So there's a lot of good continuity. And then at the middle school level, we've had a stalwart down there, and Mac Aljancic, been there longer than I've been here as a head coach. So knowing that feeder system's coming up to you is so vital. And when you have a youth coaches meeting to go over what you want to be done this year, and you have 18 youth coaches that are working under you. It's tremendous. So right now I counted the other day. I think it's 24 coaches right now are working for Lousiville basketball. From second grade all the way through varsity, and the impact that all of those men and women have on this program is just unmatched. And so many people in this community donate their time, their money, to give back to not only just Louisville basketball, but Louisville City Schools, and take care of us in a great way. And that's what makes this community so wonderful.
One of my theme questions this year, Coach, for all of the coaches, goes to the lessons that the game teaches. And I know with your long tenure there in Louisville, you've taught countless young men about the sport of basketball and relating it into their everyday lives. But I'm curious what the biggest lesson the sport of basketball has taught you.
Adversity reveals character. I do that through our schedule. So a lot of people question, like, my goodness, why are you guys doing this to yourself? And there's only two reasons: either you don't like to sleep, or you believe in adversity. So I'm gonna go with the latter of the two. I actually do like to sleep, but adversity reveals character. I think that you find out who you are in the toughest times. And when you go up against that person, that team, that well coached team, or that community that supports more than you've ever seen a community support, and you see what it looks like, I think that raises your expectations for yourself and for your team and for the people around you. So I've seen some of our greatest strides in this program come after losses, and it's propelled us into the next level. For instance, last year we had two regular season losses, and I would say those two losses were probably two of our greatest games of the entire season. And that was St. Ed's and St. Ignatius at their place. We battled and battled and battled, came up short on both of them. But I don't think that we had the season that we do without those two losses. And I think those two losses will also help our young men this year as we make our push to Dayton.
Follow-up question to that too. When you talk about building the program and having those type of guys on the schedule and building that type of adversity, it feels as if that there's no longer, at least with this Leopard program, as you may see in so many other programs in the sport of basketball, that look at the Eds and Ignatius with those big eyes too and have that intimidation. It feels like Louisville now is now in that upper echelon of teams where we're just looking at guys that we could compete to and having that familiarity. Do you think that familiarity that you build playing those opponents every year, each and every year, do you think that builds or wears away that intimidation and builds that confidence?
Without question. These guys want to play those. If I did not have these teams on my schedule, they would question me. So, yeah, I think as coaches, it's more of a respect factor. Like when you're saying, I'm going against Coach Joyce or Coach Flannery or Coach Griffith, these people are, in my mind, are legends in the game of high school basketball. And never in a million years would I put myself in the category of these individuals. But our program has gotten to that point where they are seeking us out to play. And when that happens, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, okay, they see worthiness in playing Louisville in basketball. And, when I came in 18 years ago, my goal was to make Louisville on the basketball map, and not just in the county, but I wanted to be in the state. And to be honest with you, I think we've done more than the state. When a coach from Torrey Pines, California says, I heard about you guys, we want you to come out to our program. That's pretty remarkable. We're back-to-back KSA champions in Florida against premier teams all over the country, winning against Utah and Florida in our last 2 years. And it just makes me feel good at this community, this tight-knit, smaller community, that our young men can see what it takes to push to the next level. And hopefully that'll propel them in life as well.
It's easy for these guys to put it all into you because you give it all right back to them, Coach. Final question for you, man. Opening tip off for our high school basketball on both the boys and girls side is usually right around Thanksgiving. Might be the last year it's around Thanksgiving this year. I know there's talks, but it's usually around Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, I want you to shout out your first game, shout out the Louisville community, why they need to come out and support this team, even though I know you really don't need to. They're going to be standing room only pretty much every game. But also shout out your favorite Thanksgiving Day dish.
All right, so we'll play Talmadge the day after Thanksgiving this year at home. So that's going to be a big event for us, and we're going to honor a lot of people at that event. We have a new video board that a lot of people gave a lot of money to see go up, all privately donated. So we're going to honor those individuals. And then, as far as the community, they're unreal. They'll sell out. We'll have standing room only. There'll be people sitting on the edge of the seat in the doorways, all that kind of stuff. They're tremendous. And then we also have the alumni game, which I started about 10, 12 years ago. We do that on Thanksgiving morning at 9 a.m. And we get all of our alumni back and they play. They usually play against us, but they get pretty aggressive. So I don't know if I'll do that the day before. I'm sure our kids are going to want to, but the older players want to come back and show that they still have what it takes. But I actually do it for their health. So that way, all the turkey and stuffing they're eating, they're actually getting a little workout in the morning to help them out a little bit. But I'm probably a sweet potato stuffing guy for my favorite dishes, I'd say, and I'm very fortunate because I get a lot of good food at Thanksgiving. So we'll enjoy it, and then we'll get after the Talmadge on Friday for sure.
Stuffing's one of the ones leading the way. I think it's still holding the top spot amongst the coaches.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for you guys this season. I'm excited to see what kind of steps this Lousiville Leopard program can continue to take. It's always great talking with you, my man. Happy Thanksgiving. Good luck this season. I believe within due time, we'll see each other out there on the hardwood here real soon.
Thanks, Ty.